Hello. Welcome. I'm Tom. I'm joined by Ant, and welcome to the White
Hello.
Zone stream. How you doing today, Ant? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm enjoying grey Scotland. I was prepared to say sunny and corrected myself.
I've got some nice weather actually today. I went for a little run this morning. It was all very nice, pretty, sunny autumn day. A little bit
That's it.
nippy,
Rub it in.
but just nice, clear, crisp air. All those, there were pumpkins everywhere. I'm just thinking of cliched autumn things that people like. Pumpkin spice lattes. Do you like pumpkin spice lattes?
I love pumpkin spice latte. This has put me in such a good mood.
See? I personally don't like them, personally, because they're a little bit too orange. The syrup, have you seen the syrup for them? It's really orange. I'm suspicious of anything that's that orange, including oranges and pumpkins.
I've not seen the syrup for them. I am partial to a pumpkin pie though.
Oh, actually, I do like pumpkin pie. I'm just suspicious of orange things, which is why I refuse to use variables in Scratch. No, that's not true. I love variables. But nothing should be that orange. Anyway, I digress. Last week's game sealed the deal. How did everyone get on?
Very, very well. Yeah, there was slipping and sliding all their way through the week.
Excellent. And have you sort of calmed down from the name of the game? Have you come down from that rage that you were in the stream last week?
I took up yoga and meditation twice a day, half an hour. Um, I'm feeling somewhat better about the situation.
Okay. Just I'll warn you. I've got. Oh, there've been some more puns that have gone through my mind.
No.
Yeah, that I may have to pull out at some point. I'm gonna really push you to your limits from time to time, Ant. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, but there's puns. There's always going to be puns, and I'll push you to your limit. I'll push you to your breaking point. Anyway, seal the deal. So you had 90 seconds slipping and sliding around on the ice as this little seal. And there's a lovely little splash effect that I thought was quite nice when the fish fall back down into the water. And you've got to collect as many fish as you can in those 90 seconds. The controls were a little bit intentionally wonky, so you slip and slide everywhere because you're on ice. It's not easy moving around on ice. I cannot ice skate. So I tried to recreate the horror that I experience if I'm ever asked to ice skate. Tried to recreate that horror for everybody else.
It's one of my favorite games. Loads of people hate it for its awful controls, and to me the controls are just like that. A little game called The Binding of Isaac, and the controls are very slippery, slidey. I love it for that reason.
Fair
Some
enough.
people hate it for that reason. This was kind of harkened back to that for me a little bit.
Fair enough. So let's move on and have a look. So this, I believe, is William's game. This is one you
Williams, yeah.
So should we have a look? So already is that Dead Mouse or Mickey Mouse? Or...
I've just remembered. Might want to make sure the tab is muted. I'm sure you already have.
Okay. No, I don't think I have. So let's just.
I just remembered then on the topic of copyright music. The moment I saw Dead Mouse on the screen, I was like,
okay,
hold on a minute.
Okay. I remember listening to Dead Mouse back in the day. And you've got to. So Dead Mouse, for anybody who doesn't know, was a DJ in the early, like teens, late noughties.
He's still around.
Is he? Okay, I must admit, I'm a little bit like I've not trying to be like, oh, I'm too cool for him now, but like I moved on. You know what I mean? But I did like that. I must admit, I did really like that music back in the day. So yeah, it was a DJ, wore a giant like Mickey Mouse type head thing
with like big LED eyes.
And so I really like that. That's a really cool. So I guess William is a fan of some banging dubstep from 2011.
Yes, he is.
Fair enough. I respect that. I expect that.
I like the little animation on the backdrop in the background there.
Yes, yeah.
A little lava flowing.
It's a nice little sort of, yeah. And I love the fact that it's little records popping out, going flying out.
Catching all that vinyl.
That's good. Awesome. And also, that's a good mouse. That's a good dead mouse. I like it.
Mm.
It's nice. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. Now I think we've got Harris's next up.
We do. Yes, we have Harris's next up.
And why he'd like come on man.
That was unintentional.
Is this just a perfectly empty prize? I assume there's nothing else going on in it, and this is just an elaborate rickroll.
Is it actually working?
I don't know. No. I'm gonna try it.
I thought you hit start and it wasn't working, and you thought I genuinely just wanted to show you that image.
I'm just gonna
like,
hide.
No, I'm not that bad.
I'm just gonna hide some of these variables so we can see the screen a little bit better. So in the variables tab, you can untick the variables. The other little trick is sometimes, like if I'm over in the seal, we can only see. You can see there I've got 2 variables ticked, right? But there's 4 variables on the screen. But handily, it tells me that actually these 2 variables here are in the boat. So if I pop into the boat, I can untick them in there, and that way I can just hide them so I can see the game a little bit better whilst I'm playing. I can get rickrolled even harder. Okay, so right, I've got to dodge boats as well. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. And collect. Do I need to get these purple things, or is it game? No, it's game over if I touch those.
So you're dodging boats and plastic.
I see.
And the plastic is moving slower than the boats are, and you might recognize potentially the patterns and or movement.
Yes. It looks familiar. It wouldn't happen to be from Railroaded a couple of weeks ago, would it?
That is from Railroaded.
That is brilliant. I absolutely love that. That is exactly what we want people doing. Taking the code from other projects and reusing it, reimagining it, applying it elsewhere. That is absolutely genius. That is absolutely genius. That is exactly what I want to see. I love it. Big well done to Harris there.
We had a bit of a chat when I first joined you on these streams about how one of the greatest things you can do when learning code is to reuse other code and make it applicable to your own project. And this is great. This is exactly that.
For sure. That is absolutely genius. Rickroll aside, absolutely brilliant project. Absolutely brilliant. And I love the environmental theme that's going on there. I remember we did a game about a year ago now, which was it was a lumberjack game, and we did it in one of the IRL clubs, and all the kids told me off for making a game that wasn't environmental enough. So they made me make a game in one of the subsequent weeks where you had to plant trees to make up for all the lumberjacking, for the logging. Which,
fair enough.
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, okay. No,
very
fair
valid
enough.
Point, yeah.
I can't argue with that. Yeah. I found it quite funny, but no, they're right. I don't want to promote the wrong ideas as well, So I like that. I like it. I like it when games get used to sort of, making a little bit of a comment in some way as well. That's a nice little bit of a political comment there, maybe from Harris. It's just, that's that's some quality project. Okie dokie. So what have we got next? I believe we have Joykrish is up next, and this is from my pie club. It's from one of my pie clubs. Hang on a second. I know you wanted to. There you go. So we had Race Around a couple of weeks back. It's a driving game. I think we looked at it briefly. I might have briefly shown it off last week.
Somewhat, yes.
Driving game. Have a nice, just a simple little circuit, right? Simple little circuit that's sort of like a capsule shape, And one of the hacks that Joykrish had to go at was adding in a crash mechanic. So when the player hits the edge of the track, they take some damage and their car actually gets slower and steers less well, like their car has taken damage. So if you've ever played like the Forza games on realistic mode, your car gets damaged and maybe you hit like maybe you clip. Like if you're anything like me, racing games are just an exercise in blowing cars up, right? That's I'm not, and maybe yeah, or at least that's what it was when I was a kid. Maybe now I'd enjoy them a little bit more, as they were. Maybe I'd play them more as they are intended to be played. But when I was younger, it was a matter of finding the longest straight and with your mate just driving at each other head on and playing chicken on like I don't know, like Le Mans or something, or finding a like one of the NASCAR tracks and doing a couple of rings around and then doing some chicken and doing some head-on collisions in the car. But if you crash them, say you like clipped the right hand side, maybe your front right wheel would get damaged, so you'd have like a weird steer to the right the whole time. So that's what we're trying to do here, right? When we hit the edge of the track, we take a little bit of damage, so our acceleration is reduced, right? So damage, acceleration lost, and damage steer amount loss are variables up here, and they are numbers below 1. So if we multiply something by a number below 1, it gets reduced by a little bit. So that's what's going on here. And what really impressed me is not only the fact that he did that, but he took the track, and let's have a look at it over here real quick. He took the track and he made his own one here where there are shortcuts involved in the track, but they are higher risk shortcuts that you've got to do. They're higher risk and things like that. So it's like taking that mechanic and then thinking about the impact of the gameplay. So you can choose to try and go a quicker way, but you're more likely to crash and take damage, yada, yada, yada. So I was really, really impressed with how he'd taken that sort of that first mechanic and then thought, right, how does that impact my whole project? Like, and how, what would need to change and things like that. Just excellent bit of thinking it all through, which I was impressed with. I'm really pleased with.
When you say higher risk, do you mean when we collide during those shortcuts, are we losing more speed?
No, they're narrower, sorry. So the shortcuts, there are shortcuts which will cut your time, which will, they'll reduce a chunk of your race, but they are narrower parts of their narrower track. So you're more likely to crash, thus they're higher risk.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really, really clever application of a different, like thinking about how mechanics all work and how they all fit together. I was really, really pleased with that.
Also, I have to add, given your spiel on racing games, were you the person who you would start the race, you would turn the car around, everyone else would just be racing and doing their thing, and your primary aim would be to hit anyone you could, put them to a halt?
No.
Is that you?
No. No.
Tom.
No.
Tom.
Don't know what you mean. Don't know what you mean.
Totally you.
I was a menace. I was a menace. I wasn't like I just could not take racing games seriously. I was an absolute menace. Absolute menace. You know what? Somebody on the note of racing games and menacing racing games, it's a real throwback, but somebody reminded me yesterday of the original Star Wars Lego pod racing level.
Yes. Yes, I played that again recently, actually.
It was so hard. It was so hard. Why was it so hard? It was a kid's game. So for anybody who doesn't know, so pod racing in the Phantom Menace with the Lego in the Lego game, you had to. It was like a racing game where your pod racer was always moving forward. You had to move left and right to dodge crashing into things, but you also had to reach checkpoints at certain, like you had to reach checkpoints and do them in a certain amount of time. And if you didn't make it to the checkpoint in time, you had to do it again. And it was just so hard. The time was never long enough. It was really, really difficultly balanced for a child's game, and it was impossible. In the end, I had to get my dad to do the level for me because I just could not do it. It was, I'm still haunted by that game. They then updated it, and it became so much easier, and it was much better. And they remembered the fact that it was a child's game and not some like pro racing game. But tough game, though. That said, I enjoyed the rest of it. I cannot complain for 1 second.
I did not know that they updated it.
Yeah, when they did, so they did the complete saga like 5 years later, where they did both the original and the sequel and the prequels.
I was about to say, because I played it maybe 2-3 months ago on the complete saga. It was like, wasn't that bad.
No, it was. They updated it for that, and they took out the timers, maybe.
Mm,
I think so, but they had the
that would make
timers.
sense.
That was the tough bit. It was really, really tough. It was really, really tough. But someone reminded me about it the other day, and I had like a throwback, and I was like, oh my goodness, I never want to think about that again.
Clenched fist
Mhm.
under the table. You're like, oh.
Yep. Okie dokie. So, time for we've got time for more than one. So another one of the race around ones was Ben's, and let me just check everything was okay, because I know he said he was finishing off one last thing and just fiddling around with one last tweak on it. Now, Ben was determined to get a drifting mechanic in, and likewise, so was Dominic, one of my other club members. I've just chosen Ben's because it was the first one on the list. So credit to the both of them for doing this drifting mechanic, because it was tough. We talked about it for a long time. We had a little chat. I actually pulled up at one point. I had to refer to like somebody had tried building a drifting mechanic in a whole other they tried to recreate a drifting mechanic in a Mario Kart thing in using Unity. So I had a little look through some stuff that other people had done for sort of inspiration as to how this sort of thing could be tackled, because it's a tough mechanic. It's quite a tough mechanic, but the essence of it is you just press your button down and then you work out what direction the car is already pointing in, and if they are, you just have them stay pointing in that direction. So we work out here what direction they're already pointing in, just with a little bit of maths, and then we get them steering in that direction. And you can steer a little bit. You can turn into it a little bit more, but you can't turn out of the drift. So there's this constant bit of steering here, and you get a little boost at the end. We have a little increase in drift power, things like that. So I will now demonstrate. See, let's hopefully it works. So I'm holding down the space bar there to drift. I'm not using the left and the right arrow keys, and then when I let go, you can see there's a little bit of a trail out of it. I'm not holding down I'm doing a little bit of steering into it, but I can't steer out of it.
Yeah.
It is a proper neat mechanic. I was super, super impressed with everybody, with everyone who tried it. For that, as you can see on the left-hand side, I'm not doing much steering in it, and it's still turning itself. As you can tell when I'm pressing buttons on the little controller over on the left behind my head. So no,
excellent.
I thought that was super, super cool. It may not look much, but it was a really good bit of code. It was a really, really good chat about how we can break down these coding problems, like into the components, and sort of work out what on earth do we need within that. You know what I mean? Because it feels like a really small, simple thing, but actually, and you still need to go through that process of breaking it all up.
The moment you said drifting, my first thought was, oh no, maths.
I don't mind the maths, so I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed the whole experience. I'll be honest. It was fun. Don't mind me. I like to scare. You know that SpongeBob meme where it's like where SpongeBob's like, "Don't do it, you'll scare him, Patrick," to Squidward. That's me just mentioning trigonometry around Ashley. Just scare him with maths. Scare him with maths.
Yeah. I'll enjoy finding an algorithm online and using that. Making it myself, not so much. Nope.
No, that's fair. That's fair, and that's the same with Ashley. Like, he knows how to use it and all that, but he's not somebody who gets enjoyment out of it like I do. What can I say? What can I say? Hey ho. Right. Last but not least, we showed the Frogbert Show 1 the Mr. Frogbert Show 1 a couple of weeks back. We talked about how it should. This is everything I want from late night TV nowadays. Like, move over Graham Norton, move over, the Late Show, all of those, or any of those, whether they're in the UK or in America or wherever. It should just all be the Mr. Frogbert Show. We couldn't show 2 because sadly its main premise was using copyright music, and we didn't want to risk YouTube taking issue with us. I might be able to link Frogbert 2 actually in the description of this video if anybody wants to have a look, and I'll obviously link the link every other project. So I'll link for Mr. Frogbit Show 2 as well, so people can check it out. Oh boy, this had me. Was there any sound in this? Do I need to put the audio on?
I can't recall. I do not recall.
I think it was just mostly text box, wasn't it?
I believe so.
This had me. This had me in hysterics. So I'll just.
Our least favorites, zone leaders.
I don't know why Alex is in the bin.
Noah's snake dude. Anyone not in the know? That is Pie Club leader Ash. And
So Ashley runs Noah's Python Club. So that is why Noah has called him his Snake Club dude, because maybe this is a little bit too much programmer humor, but like I just love it when people like refer to Python as just some other random snake. You know what I mean? I don't know why that's a funny joke. It just is.
Snake Club dude.
Yeah.
Let's focus for a moment on the fact that you are Grandma Frogbit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or at least comparable to Grandma Frogbit.
Yeah. I'll take that. I'll take that.
I'm kind of curious where Walt Disney came from.
Yeah. I can't say you remind me of Walt Disney.
Do I not like reek of magic and wonder?
Maybe you know what? Noah clearly sees. Yeah, Noah clearly sees something in you that I don't, and you know what? I think Noah is probably a better judge of character than me. It was just weird and funny, and I like it a lot, and I like the fact that Alexa's in the bin.
Yes.
Makes no sense. It's funny. Anyway, that's about all we've got time for. You never know, there might be a Frogbit Show 4 at some point. I'm sure Noah will keep going on these because he loves making his little comedy ones like these. They're brilliant.
Yeah,
Okie
they're
dokie.
pretty good.
Okie dokie. We'll wrap up now. We'll see you all again next week. Thank you very much for joining me, Ant. And we'll talk about Tower of Bones, which is this week's game, isn't it?
Yes, I'm very excited to talk more about Tower of Bones.
I had maybe one or two skeleton-related puns for you.
I think that's about all we have time for today.
Okie dokie.